Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Big Rich, Northern California, Silicon Valley, still seeking that Sasquatch. Talking about these Mini 8T suspension mounts. I don't know how many times you've broken these mounts that you see here in the video, but I've broken them quite a few times, and I found out that the ones for the Mini 8 also fit the Mini 8T. So I'm going to show you how I got them installed here. So this is the ones on the front, right under the bulkhead there, and the other one in the back, right behind the suspension arms. I'll point them out here so you can see them a little better. So that's the one in the front, underneath the bulkhead, and that's the one behind the steering arms there, and same thing on this side. So it's two pieces for the front, two pieces for the rear. So to install the rear ones, you just take out these two screws, the one pictured here in the bottom, those two. Once you get those guys removed, then you can take off the old steering mount. Now you'll need to take off these 4 screws and 2 on the bottom to get the cover that goes over the spur and pinion gear off. I don't run it, so I don't have it online in this video. Then take these 4 screws out to loosen the diff housing so you can get the rear end off the car. Then the rear end will pull straight off after you have that cover removed and those 4 screws off the bottom. And the pins have already fallen out here in my picture. And then you'll need to loosen the top of the diff housing so that you can move the spur gear up to get you access to that front steering mount. And once you get the 6 diff case screws loosened, then the spur gear will tilt up far enough so that you can get access to those 2 screws to remove that front steering mount. There's the old one removed off the car. Again, here's the part numbers for the rear and the part number for the front suspension mount. So getting in there, it comes with these grommets, so make sure you use 4 matching grommets, and there's a guide in the package that tells you about them. So you just press the grommets right into the steering mount. It's a little different than the factory one. And on the other side as well. And here I've got it put in place. I've got to tighten those 2 screws down. And once I get them tightened down, I can tighten the top of the diff housing back down, since I don't need to tilt the spur gear anymore. And now I can put the drive shaft in place and get the rear end reattached to the car. Once I have that all lined up, I can flip it over and put the 4 screws in the bottom to mount the diff housing to the chassis. And don't forget that little piece that goes over the drive shaft. Now you can replace the cover over the spur and pinion and tighten down those 4 screws on top and the 2 on the bottom if you're running that cover. There it is, the front one's installed. And put the pins back in place to hold the steering arms. And then you can kind of just snap the new one in place here and press it down firmly where it goes and make sure that the steering pins are exactly where they go. And then you can just put in the 2 screws and tighten that suspension mount at where it goes. Kind of snaps over the chassis, you'll notice. Once you get these 2 guys nice and secure, you're pretty much done with the install. So again, on the rear, here's the front suspension mount. And there is the rear suspension mount. See if I can get you a better shot of this here. To install the front one, it's more or less the same. You don't have to crack the diff housing open on the front, but you do have to move some of the steering parts around. After doing this one, I think you'll find the front's just a little easier. So again, it's Big Rich here in Northern California with another video on the Losi Mini 8T. I hope you found this one helpful. For me, it was a surprise that the Mini 8 part fit the Mini 8 truggy as well. Again, there's that rear suspension mount. So I hope you liked the video. Be sure to subscribe, comment if you have any questions, and give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you, YouTube.